The remains of 19 victims of the Srebrenica genocide in eastern Bosnia were buried Sunday during celebrations for the 26th anniversary of the massacre, which continues to divide deep in the country, a quarter of a century after the end of the war. The war. Several thousand people attended the funeral at the Potocari Memorial Center, near Srebrenica, where 6,671 victims of the massacre now lie, including 435 adolescents. 236 other victims are buried in different cemeteries. In July 1995, 5 months before the end of the Bosnian War, 1992–95, Bosnian Serb forces killed more than 8,000 Bosnian Muslim men and adolescents in the Srebrenica area. "I'm going to bury my brother's skull, and it's not even complete," Azir Osmanovic told reporters shortly before the burial of the remains of his brother Izmir, who was 16 in July 1995. While fleeing Srebrenica with a group of teenagers, Izmir found himself in a minefield. "My brother and 2 other boys died there," Azir said. His remains were recently found and identified. "I have decided to bury him this year, to have at least a place where I can pray for him. I think that after all these years nothing can be found," he explained. A young woman, who was 24 at the time, as well as another 17-year-old teenager are among the buried victims. After a tribute ceremony and collective prayer, the coffins, covered with a green cloth and a wartime Bosnian flag, were carried by men to the new graves dug among thousands. Perfectly aligned white stelae. Most of the victims of this massacre were detained, then shot in the hundreds and buried in dozens of mass graves by Bosnian Serb forces, who captured the town on July 11, 1995. It is increasingly difficult to find new mass graves, while more than 1,000 victims are still being sought, said Almasa Salihovic, spokesperson for the Memorial Center. This massacre was qualified as genocide by the International Criminal Tribunal for the Former Yugoslavia, ICTY. The former political and military leaders of the Bosnian Serbs, Radovan Karadzic and Ratko Mladic, were sentenced to life imprisonment, notably for this crime. But the Srebrenica massacre is still downplayed by political leaders of the Bosnian and Serbian Serbs, who deny the characterization of genocide. "There was no genocide," Serbian member of the Bosnian Collegiate Presidency, Milorad Dodik, said on Saturday. "There was no genocide," he added, quoted on the site of the television of the